Hey everybody, it's Pixelated Pat and I'm back with another episode of our Pokemon Gaia Hardcore Nuzlocke. We've got some huge battles on the agenda today against all three of the Elder Knights, so let's get right into it with our first battle against the Elder Knight Eunice. You know what that means? Cue the OST. So to start off the battle, she's going to set a Pale via Snowstorm, but we're able to start off on the right foot with a quick knockout of Auroras. After that, Eunice sends out her Noctowl, thinking it'll have the advantage against Infernape, but little does she know that we have Thunder Punch. In no time at all, that's two Pokemon down, but we are forced into a switch by Gastrodon. Here's where I make a misclick by setting out Scizor instead of Venusaur, and not only that, we get burned by Scald the next turn when we correct that mistake, which is going to make the rest of the battle a little bit harder for Soar. However, we are able to push through it with a pair of Razor Leaves, although we do end up taking more damage than I'd have liked between hail and burn damage. And from there, the strategy for the rest of the battle is as simple as it gets, and that's letting our girl Magna put in the work with a pair of Flame Wheels to send the first Elder Knight packing. While that battle was about as easy as it can get, it's only going to get harder from here, and I mean that literally because our next opponents are the Rock and Steel type users of the Elder Knights. Anyways, after we get the first idle piece, we head back to the Pokemon Center to do some box healing, which is a trick I learned from watching Pokemon speedruns, which was essentially just to save time on footage. Anyways, we have to change our rotation for the next battle because I thought this was a brilliant opportunity to show off the rest of our roster. Anyways, we're about to get started off with the next battle, so you know what that means. Cue the OST. So just like in our previous battle on Pressmost Island, he leads with Tyrantrum, so we lead with the Azumarill to score a quick KO with a powerful Play Rough. After that, he sends out his Ace and Mega Balls right away, but we leave Azumarill in to deal huge damage with a 4x super effective Ice Punch. After he uses his only full restore, all it takes is 2 more Ice Punches to take down his Ace and bring in the next Pokemon, Golurk. After that, I decided that Azumarill was done for the day due to the amount of damage it had taken, so I sent in Cynthia to take down this absolute behemoth of a Golurk. And while it does deal a significant amount of damage to us due to the fact they got to hit us twice, we're still able to take it out with a pair of Crunches, which will bring out his next Pokemon, Diggersby. Not wanting to risk Cynthia either, I sent in Venusaur to take it down. Not only does Petal Storm not do much damage as I wanted thanks to Bulk Up, we also get hit with the crit, which puts us in a very tough spot, especially because we put each other down to 1 hit range the very next turn. I switched into Tentacruel because I was anticipating a quick attack, but I was wrong in my prediction, which unfortunately leads us to Tentacruel's death. A moment of silence for our fallen brethren. After a moment of deliberation, I remember that Scizor has priority, so we send her out so we can take it down with a quick Bullet Punch, which will bring out his final Pokemon, Machamp. From here, I switch into my last healthy Pokemon, Altaria. After that, we Mega Evolve, and after wasting his attack trying to set up, we take him down with a stab boosted Moonblast. And just like that, we are already 2 for 3 in this phase of our war against the Elder Knights. Although it is unfortunate that it did have to come at the cost of one of our soldiers, F's in the chat for Tentacruel. After we get the second idle piece, we teleport back to Icos Town so we can head back to the Pokemon Center again so we can drop off Tentacruel in the Heaven Box and get the rest of our team ready for the final Elder Knight. I decided to save the toughest one for last, so I knew I was going to need a solid strategy going in so I could win without losing another Pokemon. After box healing the team and overlooking the rest of our roster, I decided to make the last second choice and choose Conkeldurr over Staraptor, and off we are to the final Elder Knight. For the third time this episode, cue the OST. Just like our first battle, we both lead with Skarmory, and just like before, the very first thing I do is set up not 1, not 2, but 3 rounds of spikes and some Stealth Rocks on top of that due to the fear that this Elder Knight in particular put in me. After successfully setting up our hazards, I switched over to Cofagrigus, and even though I knew it was a huge risk due to the fact that Skarmory is using Night Slash, my strategy pays off in a huge way because we're able to score the first KO of the match after a huge Hex puts Skarmory's HP low enough to be taken out by burn damage. This will bring out his Aegislash, which I was terrified of. At this point, I give the reins over to Magna. However, we suffer a huge loss in our attack power thanks to the effect of King Shield draining our attack power. After that, I pivot over to Garchomp, who has to take a huge hit from Martinhead upon coming in. Thankfully, she survives, and she's able to take it down that turn with a powerful Crunch. After that, he sends in his Claydol, so I pivot over to Source so we don't have to risk Garchomp any further than we already have. From there, we Mega Evolve and deal some huge damage with Petal Storm, which will force him into wasting his only full restore. After that, we hit it twice to take it down, which will bring out his ace, this menacing Mega Aggron. After he takes damage from the hazards and Mega Evolves, we hit him with the Leech Seed since I knew that Filter was going to be cutting the damage. He takes some super effective attacks. From there we hit him with an Earthquake, but he scores a huge hit with Iron Head. Not wanting to risk losing Venusaur to a potential crit the next turn if I couldn't take him out, I switched over to Conkeldurr since I felt like he was the best option at this point, which he was since he's able to take down his ace the very next turn with a Hammer Arm to the face. And this if I needed any more confirmation that I made the right decision by choosing Conkeldurr over Staraptor, he's able to take down Cradily with one final Hammer Arm, and just like that we are officially 3 for 3 in this phase of our war against the Elder Knights. After that we go ahead and get the final idol piece, meaning we can finally move on with the final phase of this war and take on Morgana for the last time, which will ultimately decide the fate of the Orbitus region. If you enjoyed this video, then don't forget to leave a like so you can help the channel grow, and subscribe if you're new and want to see me take down the bad guys once and for all in the next episode of our Pokemon Gaia Hardcore Nuzlocke. As always, I am beyond grateful for all of you tuning in, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. That's all I got for you today. This is Pixelated Pat, signing off.